nominate a chair for the year, I stood in. We have a situation where the person who may or may not get nominated might not be here. So the first thing we've got to do is elect a chairman for tonight. Anyone to volunteer?
Councillor Gordon.
No, that's for volunteers. Right.
That's three
Right, can I have a nomination for chairman for tonight? Right, that's a proposer. Any seconders?
Second.
All those in favour? Right. Second.
You need to sign in.
I do.
Review.
Chair, I suggest that we leave item 1, 2 and 7 to the next meeting.
No, we can do it. When we come to it, I'll explain something. We can do it tonight.
Fine. All right.
I'll explain when we get there.
Okay.
Over there.
Can everybody hear me on this microphone?
Yes.
Right, let's begin the meeting, please. Right. Item 1, to elect a chairman. This is to elect a chairman a permanent chairman for the whole year. This is delayed from last council meeting because we weren't sure whether a person could be elected in their absence. Can I have a nomination, if you would
John.
please, to elect a chairman?
Yeah.
Any nomination from anybody to elect?
Councillor Tommy.
You want to propose Councillor Tarney? I have a seconder for that. I'll second it. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think after missing last meeting and this meeting, which is two out of the 12, the 6th of the meeting is not a very good advert for the chairman, is it?
We can't keep on postponing. We are quota. I've spoken to Drew in the past and he was prepared to accept it. So has anybody else got any more points?
Well, I propose Darren.
Right,
Darren
no
Smith.
seconder?
Who did you?
No seconder?
As an alternative.
No.
We know he's going to be here all the time.
I'm going to second it. So now we have 2 nominations with 2 proposals and 2 seconders. So I think I'm trying to think the correct procedure. I think the correct procedure is we'll vote on the first one and then we'll vote on the second nomination. And whichever gets the highest number of votes will be elected chair. Does everybody agree with that?
I'd like to.
Sorry, yeah, say something you want to say, something. Go on.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with it, with the whole process of what we're doing this evening when we've only got 7 councillors out of 14. Everybody knows what's on the agenda tonight, voting for a chairman. It's quite important that we do it correctly, and we see by the public that we're doing it correctly. I'm not disagreeing with you that you can't vote Councillor Towney as chairman. It just doesn't sit very well with me personally that a chap can't turn up to take his position. And I understand he's got work commitments, and I'm happy if everybody wants to postpone it and move it to another day. I just think we're doing it a little bit gun-ho, that's all.
Right.
That's really what I'm going to say, Stuart. It just
Yeah, I
doesn't sit.
understand your points. From my point,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I speak, somebody else want to speak?
Yeah, no, I'd just say I agree with Darren. I think we should wait until at least we get more numbers here. It's unfortunate we seem to have a lot of absentees tonight, not the only problem. I've got a problem with postponing it another. When's the next meeting? Council meeting?
20th of June.
20th of June. We've not got a lot on tonight. There's nothing that's contentious, so
Right.
I'm happy to.
Right, my view...
Sorry, no, please, go on, Stuart.
My view is this is, yes, there was a bit of can we or can't we last week. That's been clarified. You can elect people in their absence. I'm of this view. We postponed it last meeting and now we're postponing it again. yes, I agree there should be more people here, and maybe that's something we need to bring up at a future meeting, that if you want to be a councillor, maybe some people have genuine reasons.
Absolutely.
But others, I don't know. I mean, I can't say, but it's a process. It's a correct process we're going through. I understand what you're saying.
Mm.
So the only way I think I'm going to solve this now, and I don't know if I can do this, is to have a show of hands whether you want to vote on it tonight or whether you want to postpone it. So all those who want to proceed and vote for chairman tonight, can have a show of hands. So you all want to postpone it? Right. So item 1 to elect a chairman then, in fact, we'll do it the proper way. Can I have a proposer that we postpone the election of a chairman until the next meeting? Thanks, Darren. And a seconder? Christine, all those in favour? Carried. That's all.
I think it's the fair way to do things.
Yeah.
Right, item 2 doesn't apply to receive chairman's declaration because we haven't done it. Item 3 to receive apologies for absence. They're in the book. We'll just do a little bit. Right, apologies are Councillor Ireland JC, Councillor Bentley and Councillor Coleman. So can I have a proposer and a seconder that we accept the apologies, proposer Colin, seconder Darren, all those in favour? Carried. Everybody signed item number 4 to sign a declaration of acceptance. Looking around, everybody signed the declaration of acceptance, so that doesn't apply. Item number 5, to disclose members' DPI or personal interest in any item to be discussed. Has any councillor got any interest they wish to declare for later in the meeting? The silence says none. Item 6, to identify items which the press and the public may be excluded. I'm going to suggest that we exclude items, so I'll have a quick look. The ones that relate to fences. 12.
12.
It's 12.
Right, 12. And there's
12. Well, we said 12. No, yeah, sorry.
12 to consider.
12 5's got a quote in it, so it's...
That's for Lockwood, that's not. Just bear with me 1 second. Can't see it.
Well, 12 is just considered issue, isn't it?
I'll show it from the meeting.
You've got a letter from the Green, you know,
It's a letter, isn't it?
it's not on the agenda.
Right, the items I want to exclude is regarding, is it a fence on the green
Yeah.
and a fence in the Stones Wood?
Yeah.
I would suggest we put them into confidential session. There may or may not be some form of legal consequences as a result of further actions in the future. And that doesn't imply anything. So we've identified and we'll resolve to put them into session when we get to them.
12 5 is a financial implication. Is that the number as well, that quote?
Sorry, yeah, 12.5.
Yeah.
Any others people may think we need to put in confidential session? 12.5 is contractual,
Yes.
and the other two are legal. I'll say it, I'll use the term dispute lightly at the moment, so we'll get to them when we get to item number 7, to elect vice chairman. We have a proposal to, or a nomination to elect vice chairman.
think we should put it the same way as
I'm
the
going to say I agree with Darren. I think we should.
Are we all of the mind to leave it, to postpone it? Everybody's nodding. Right. We'll delay that one as well. Item 8, to confirm minutes of the parish council meeting held on Monday the 16th of May. So we've got one before page 1. For page 2.
I've amended this actually, 1816, that should read 5th of August 2015 to be confirmed, so I've reprinted that because my was told
Right, on item
1816.
1816, confirmation of operational risk assessment, on the first line where it reads 3rd of September 2014, it's been amended now to the 5th of August 2015. So can I have a proposal, sorry, page 3 of 3? Nothing. Can I have a proposal that we accept the minutes of Monday the 16th of May subject to the amendment spoken about? That's proposal Darren, sorry, and second is Clive. All those in favour? Carried. Right, what was that?
Additional pages just the additional page 2.
Right, we come on to item 10. Right, item 10 is to adjourn the meeting to allow for public session. Are there any questions? Any questions from the public that relate to the Anston Parish Council Recreation and the charity? Yes, Mr. Pearson, do you have a question on the charity?
Yeah. You take it tornado out, Burma Bridge has been removed, that's 2 items have been removed from welfare. What plans, if any, have you got to replace them?
The tornado can't be replaced according to the manufacturer.
No, it can be replaced with something else.
Right, what happens with this, Mr. Pearson, is because it's a charity question, this is a council meeting, the question will be forwarded onto the charity, and if necessary the charity will discuss it at the next meeting to give you an answer.
Right.
Yeah, okay, you will get an answer.
What plans are there to replace the tornado from the bridge?
Anybody else got any questions for the charity? No. Is there any member of the public who wants to make any representations regarding planning applications? The public.
It's just something that I've been discussing with the clerk. It is a planning issue. It relates to the inspectors' hearings. First lot that were in July, which we, as a parish council, objected to some forms of it last year. We've been trying to get. I'm speaking at the hearings as a borough councillor, but I'm also down to represent the parish council. But we've argued the toss with the inspector because we missed the date for whatever reason. We're wanting to partake in these hearings. Now we've got an option. We've got an opportunity now for another parish councillor to attend, as well as myself, at these hearings. I think the one that's earmarked is Wednesday the 20th of July. I know Anna was going to. Were you going to do some printouts of this? You remember?
I've got some
Yeah. What we need to do is make a decision tonight as to whether we can actually send. What you can have is. I'll run this off. What you can have is agent organisation. So you've got to be confirmed Anston Parish Council. So it's a question of naming who's going to attend. So you could actually put Anna down as not the clerk's name, but as herself, and then another council, if they can't turn up, then we could also get somebody else to attend. I hopefully will be there, but it just gives us 2 voices at that meeting,
Right.
rather than 1.
Is this on the agenda for later?
No, it's not, because it's such a late item.
We-
I need to address it tonight.
We can discuss it, but
If
we
you want to do
can't,
it later.
we can't do a vote on it. So, what I would suggest is, when the meeting's finished, and we've done the confidential sessions, if you want to have a quick word with councillors again, and then individual councillors will have to approach you to put the names
All
forward.
I need is through Anna, because she's got
Or Anna,
the
yeah.
with.
You can't do it on...
I know, it's just I wanted to raise that now, so
Yeah.
because we only found out beginning of this week, we've got to look at everything on that, so it's too late to go on the agenda. But we have to,
Deadline's Friday.
we have to make a
So
decision
the reminder at the
tonight.
end of the meeting.
So if we can, but as I said, we need to discuss that, make sure we don't miss out, because otherwise we
You have to
shall
volunteer. Not volunteer.
Can't hear.
Do you want to volunteer?
Right, the next
I
one is
can't at the moment, John.
to allow, excuse me, to allow 1 question per elector of the civil convention answer on a topic on which the parish council has a responsibility. Are there any questions from members of the public? Mr Jarvis first. What's your question?
A couple of months ago, when I retired from the council,
Yeah,
I gave a sheet of papers to the deputy chairman, and on those papers was the rules and laws governing triple SI sites.
right.
We are, villages are in possession of a couple of triple SI sites. The Anston Parish and there's another one in Limerick Dale.
Yeah,
Now, I believe that the farmer in Limerick Dale has fenced a lot of the wood off, and he intends to keep it for himself. He's also erected a galvanised steel gate on what used to be a public footpath, and he's knocked this ancient stone wall down to an entrance into his farm. But the entrance to his farm is 60 yards east of that.
right.
Now, this is all illegal according to the laws of triple SI sites. And the council are the responsible for it. Is anything happening with that?
Right, nothing at the moment. Can I suggest,
It's on the agenda. It's on the agenda.
are we talking about the gate
Yes.
and the wood
Yeah.
and not the fence? We're talking about a fence?
I think it's the one
No,
that's put
no,
into
it's all about
confidential
the
still.
steel gate and
And the wall.
Right.
The ancient wall.
Can I, what I'm going to try and do is, could we contact Mr Jarvis?
It's confidential.
It's a different issue, isn't it?
You're saying
It's
it's
the same one.
It's the same person, it's a different issue. Yeah, it's a different, I tell you that it's a different issue. Can I ask if I can contact Mr Jarvis and get the details of what he thinks he's doing? And then he needs to come back on the agenda. Is that all right? The clerk's going to contact you. Okay.
If you leave
To-
the contact details with me.
The clerk's going to contact you to take the details of what you're saying tonight.
Yeah.
We'll try and get it on the agenda and we'll discuss it and see what we come up with. Is that all right?
That's fine.
All right, thanks for that. Anyone else? Mr Pearson had your hand up. What's your question, please?
Yeah, there's an item on the agenda here for to consider a gate for Dead Man's Cave.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can I just stop you there?
yeah,
Do you clean Deadman's Cave out? Yes.
well, I'm trained to do it.
Right. But you've been employed to do it in the past, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right. Can I ask that you don't say anything then, because you have an interest in the issue?
I ain't got an interest unless I'm directed to go and clean that cave out.
You've been contracted in the past to clean it out, and you've been trained by His English Heritage to
That's
clean
right.
that cave out. Therefore, I would suggest you have an interest. Therefore, you can ask a question, but I'm not going to answer it.
You can ask the question, but you're not going to answer.
No, you can ask the question, but I don't believe I should answer. Ask the question, and I'll make a judgment.
Right. All I'm saying is, with an item like this on the agenda, this will actually come under Natural England directive, we being within Triple SI. So therefore, if any decision is to be made on that gate, I think Natural England needs to be actually informed.
Right, I agree with you. If any decision is taken,
And the last touch, when I was down there, we English Heritage, when we were doing what we were doing, it were mentioned about that being gated off before, and they weren't really happy about it. They said it weren't a good thing because things could be thrown through that gate, which would then build rubbish up.
I've made a proposal in the past to fence it off. I won't go into details why. We will be discussing it later on the agenda, but I can assure you that any decision that's made that affects anything in the Triple SI will go in front of English Heritage before a decision is made. It has to go by law through them, I think.
Because your Natural England, not English Heritage.
Sorry, that's what I meant, natural England. Yes, Christine?
You didn't let me speak on the last item.
Sorry, I do apologise.
Gordon brought up about the land being fenced.
No, sorry.
The farm fencing the land off.
Yeah.
Is that the same that's in the pack, or is it different?
That's the one we're going to put into confidential.
It is the same one, is it?
I believe it is, yeah.
Right, did you tell Gordon that
No,
it is on the agenda, but it's into confidential session?
I didn't say that, no.
Why?
Because we'd already agreed it previously.
Right.
Doesn't make no difference, because I'll explain later on why I said what I said. But there's no problem with
Right,
it.
I thought it was a different one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions from the public? No, thank you. There's no ward members, you don't want to say anything, do you?
No, that's a good question.
Right, okay, I think we should remove that about ward members, because nothing's been done for the last 2 years, has it?
I'm not averse to actually reporting to council.
We'll discuss that another day.
We need to discuss that another day.
F, we just addressed. Right, so that's all the questions from the public. We're now moving back into the parish council session. Item 11, to consider planning and licensing matters, transport issues and receive reports. Have we got any? List 19, notice of intent to prune and fell trees within South Anston Conservation Area.
I received this from the meeting today. This is in relation to list 20.
We're on list 19. Is there any issue with the pruning and felling of trees in the conservation area? Could I suggest we leave this to the planners, the the tree man.
Arboriculturist.
The tree man normally looks at these issues and it's in the conservation area, so it will be scrutinised quite closely. So can I suggest we do no comment on that one? We've also got list 19, my apologies, list 20, two-storey side extension at 2 Worksop Road. I don't think it's been sent down to you at the moment.
No, it came very late.
I don't think we have list 20, do we?
No, it came very late, so it didn't get to me before the
Right,
actual
should I just-
pack was.
I think it's in the street.
It's just a two-storey side extension. Normally, we don't make any comment on that. So, can I suggest we leave that to the planners? Right, we'll leave that to the planners.
There was a second item on list 19, sure.
Was there? Sorry.
Front boundary wall and gates.
Yes, you're right. RB 2016-0553. That's again, is that a conservation area?
Sorry, which?
Okay.
Okay.
This one. That one. The boundary contest of conservation area.
Yeah, the big crow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any comments? Or
No, I know what house it is, I know what it is.
there's no comments? Can I suggest again we leave that to the planners because it isn't a conservation area and they do get scrutinised?
Excuse me, Chair, around about 1580.
No, I'm not this one. So it's on list 19, it's number 6, it's 2 down from where it is.
Oh, 6 colours, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? Right. So there's nothing on that to do, don't have to vote on that, do you? Right. Item number 12, to discuss and receive communications received or sent out by the parish council. The list there, the first one is 12.1. To receive notice of proposal to carry out a bat swarming survey in Anston Wood. Got the paperwork in front of you. Any comments, any suggestions?
It's received, Chairman. Received, Chairman.
I'm going to ask a question, because I've read this twice.
Yeah, me too.
Do we know? Yeah, exactly. Who's doing it? Because this, what we've been put in front of us, is a request from somebody, and they're using Natural England's, should we say, guidelines, and they're asking to carry out various bat catching operations around Deadman's Cave. But we don't, do we know who it's from? Which group it's from?
Well, they're usually companies that carry out these bad surveys.
Yeah, there's
I'll tell you the reason why I'm querying it is because Natural England have legal powers on SSI sites. What their powers are to instruct us as a landowner, I don't know, but I should imagine they've got quite strong powers. But this is not a request from Natural England, this is from somewhere else. And I would argue if it's from
This is too natural, isn't
if it's from a bat conservation society, I don't think they've got the powers to tell us they can do it.
What is it, Philip? What did you say? It's to Natural England.
This is an application to Natural England.
Right, so
Giving
it's
them
not to
performance
us.
notice
So
on the
it's not
survey.
to us.
Right.
No.
We don't know who's actually applied to us for it. Has anybody got, have you got any questions or objections to a bat survey being carried out?
We just need to know which bat, who's doing it. don't we?
We're going to see if we can address that
Yeah.
later. If nobody's got no objections, can't see it causing any damage or harm.
I think we should know who it is, Stuart.
Oh yeah, well, so what, right, what do you want to do? I'm going to say with no objections, we can ask maybe the clerk to email us to say who it is, and anybody else can raise concerns.
Can I-
Do you want to just postpone it completely?
Can I just raise an issue on this? It says, camping teams will include at least one surveyor named in section 4 of the project plan. Well, I think we've got to actually see the project plan that they're putting forward and who they are, and
Does it say
if Natural England approve this, then that's fine, but we need them for them to tell us when they're coming back, when they actually come and do the survey,
Right.
so we know when they're in the snow.
Yeah. Can I suggest that I've just looked at the proposed operations timing. It's 1st of October to 1st of August to October. Can I suggest that we defer this tonight and we ask the clerk who it is and ask. Right, if we receive it, that means we're approving it and we're giving them permission to do it. So, council asking for more information.
Well, if we receive it, that's not approved. That's just, we acknowledge that we received it, isn't it?
Yeah,
But we can go back and ask for further
I think,
information.
right, although it's on the agenda to receive, I'm going to propose, I'd like somebody to propose that we defer this document until such a time where the clerk can come back to us with who's doing it and a bit more information. It's like Clive just said, if they're referring to some form of, what was it, a document, Clive?
Project plan.
A project plan. Well, I think if it's relevant, we should be able to see it.
Well, it's here. But we've not got.
No, I've only got some, I've not got,
Have you not got that page?
no, I've only got the first bit that was down to
Right.
speed of that processing, whatever that is.
Same page.
That's all right.
Right, so can I have a proposal that we defer that to a future day? A proposal down, can I have a seconder? Matthew, all those in favour?
Can I just comment on one part of this? I don't think people it says
Can't hear you, Clive.
Sorry, it says in the unlikely event that injured bats are encountered during the project, then these will be taken to South Yorkshire Bat Hospital. The details of which are known to surveyors. It's probably better quality of care than
Yeah, we get.
That we get.
Than Bassett.
Okay,
That's it all for bats.
so we're going to defer that to the future meeting. Right, item 12.2. 12.2 to consider co-option of a councillor vacancy as per email. There's an email there that explains that there's been no request for election, therefore in effect it gives the parish council the opportunity to co-opt people if they wish. We've already done numerous co-options this year, so I would suggest that we just follow the normal procedure.
Excuse me, Stuart.
Pardon? Sorry, go on.
Elaine Bourne asked for her name to be kept on file at the last
Right.
co-option.
Right, I think all the candidates would have to apply again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the clerk to...
She was. It wasn't her suggestion.
Yeah,
She
it
was
the last
asked.
clerk's suggestion.
She was asked if she wanted to keep her name on.
And the word of the
So, should you not contact her?
I think all the candidates would have to apply again.
Can I ask, Chair?
Just one second, John.
Can I just find out, John, if they're going to contact her?
Oh, I think so.
Well, think's not good enough, is it?
It's not up to me.
Sorry, John, go on.
Are you going to
Does this-
contact her?
Oh,
Can I just
let
have an
John-
answer?
does
Just
this
let John go
relate
first.
to one vacancy? Because
This is,
we've
for the
got two,
first, this is for the first vacancy.
which is North Anston.
I couldn't tell which one it is, but it's for the
But it
first
says North
vacancy.
Anston, so the one that Gordon's done, that'll be,
So,
That's,
a different
that's
one.
in the, as far as I'm aware, that's in the process again.
yeah. So at
So-
this stage, we're doing about one. Could I suggest that we wait until we get, the process moves along a bit and we can get two together?
Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to the clerk after the meeting so we can clarify how it's going to be done and which way it's going to be done. It should probably be done the way it was before.
Yeah.
And once we've got that information, we'll disseminate it to all the councillors.
Just a suggestion,
Where
two,
necessary,
buy one, get one free, you know, both at the same night.
yeah, I agree. And where necessary, it'll be advertised.
Yeah.
Sorry, Christine, go on.
Could I just say, in my view, the council doesn't advertise widely enough, and most people living in Anston wouldn't know there's vacancy. So in that case, will the council be contacting Elaine Bourne, or shall I do it?
Stuart, sorry, can I jump in on that? I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I think it's RMBC that actually send the initial letter,
Right, what,
not the
well,
parish
actually,
council.
Yeah, but we
Well,
have to
can I just come back
advertise
to-
it, I think,
Christine,
Sharon.
what I would suggest is if you want to speak to Mrs. Morgan and
Can I just answer me first?
Right, ask me the question. I'll
Is
try and
the
answer.
council going to contact Elaine, yes or no?
Council's going to contact
I would-
everybody used to.
I would say in
How
the
can
first
they
instance,
contact everybody? They never do.
in the first instance, I would say no. I would say the process has to go again is where the vacancy will be advertised on the notice boards, and then it's up to individuals, even the ones that have applied in the past, to put themselves forward for nomination again. But there's nothing to stop you speaking to Mrs. Morgan in the meantime.
Well, why did you keep a name on file?
I didn't, the last clerk did.
Why was it kept on file?
I can't answer that, I don't know.
Right, okay.
You speak to me later if you want, and I'll agree with you.
I think the system is a bit lax, because sticking it on notice boards never works.
Right, when we get all the information,
Sorry?
when we get the information,
Continue.
You talk to
right, can I say, when we
I
get the
won't tell you,
information
yeah.
of how we're going to do it,
But the council
we can
should
have a
do it,
discussion
John.
then of what we may need or not need, yeah?
Sorry?
When we get the information on how we're going to do the co-option
Yeah,
process,
yeah.
we can have a discussion around the table then prior to doing the
Mhm.
process.
Okay.
Right. Okay, no,
Got to find two people who are willing to come first.
Well, just sticking it on
Right, so-
notice boards is
so we're going
not
to look into that
advertising,
process a little
is
bit
it?
further. Right, can we move on to item 12.3, to consider gate for Dead Man's Cave. This is from you, Christine. Not to speak on
Right,
this one.
what happened was the archaeologist from Creswell wanted to go and see Dead Man's Cave because she lives in Chesterfield. She's never been there. So Mick and I, we have been to Creswell talking to her about this display. So we went up to Dead Man's Cave with her. there was a lot of drug paraphernalia, needles and such like. It was the worst I have ever seen it. It was truly bad.
Have you got any photos, Christine? Have you got any photos?
I don't know. I'm not sure if Mick. I'm not sure about that, Darren. I'll find out.
Hearsay unless you've got some proof into it.
Well, yes, I know what you're saying. I mean, there's always been bits of rubbish when I've gone up, but nothing on that scale. It was really bad. And Jennifer wouldn't even attempt to go in the cave because of the needles.
Yeah, that's right.
So I did ring the office the next morning, and the ground staff went up there, but they said it had gone. So we didn't know if you'd been up.
I've not been up there.
Right, or if the druggies had just come back and moved in.
Probably.
Christine, can you address the table?
So, so because it's a scheduled ancient monument, I think that it should be better protected than it is. And seeing as we have gates at Creswell, I think that's a good example, and there's no reason, I don't think, why we shouldn't have a gate.
Right, anybody else in the comments? I can't bring you in because the public are allowed to speak at the moment.
You could bring me in under advisement.
Bring you in, sorry.
You could bring me in as a...
An advisor, we don't need it at the moment, we're going to crack on with the meeting. Go on, Colin.
I understand fully what Christine says, and I agree with it. What are the legal implications for us to start hacking a gate onto a site?
Right. If the council were of the mind to do such a thing, we would then have to write to, which one's it, English Nature this week? Natural England this week. And we would have to seek their advice, and I would imagine we would actually have to have their permission to do so within a... Do the ancient monuments come under the same Natural England, or is it a different body?
I think it's separate.
Right.
I think the scheduled ancient monument.
Right. So the process would be, if we were of the mind to do that, before any action would be carried out, the clerk would contact the relevant bodies to get the relevant permissions, either a go-ahead or a refusal. That would probably come back to council at a future date, depending on what the replies were.
Could the clerk also find out what our responsibilities are for a scheduled ancient monument? Because it's not being looked after at all at the minute. The evidence of fires when we went up last week was really bad.
My opinion is, and I brought this up in the past at the old Anston Stone wood meetings, is there was an archaeological dig carried out there, I think in the 1960s.
Yes, it was, yeah.
One would assume that they went down to bedrock when they dug. And if they went down to bedrock...
I don't think they did, Stuart.
I don't know. But one would assume they go down to bedrock. And if they've gone down to bedrock, there's no more archaeology there.
No, but it's not just to protect the archaeology, it's to protect the site.
I agree with what you're saying, because I think some form of, I would suggest gate, but some form of something else needs probably to be put there to prevent mainly the children going and setting fires in there, because that happens quite regularly.
I've never seen it as bad. It was, it was shocking.
Are you making a proposal?
I'm making a proposal then for a gate. If council has agreed there should be a gate, then perhaps Anna can find out where we stand.
Right,
is that the way round to do it?
Can I suggest that you make a proposal that we ask the clerk to seek costings?
No, not until we've agreed whether we're going to have one or not.
Right,
if council has agreed to a gate...
You can't agree to a gate on that site unless you've spoken to Natural England.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should do it that way then.
Yeah, so what we suggest is if you could make a proposal that we ask the clerk to approach Natural England.
Seek their views on.
Seek their views, and the ancient monument people if they're a different body. And if
find out what our responsibilities are, what we should be doing.
Yeah, and if the feedback is positive from them, i.e. they say we could go ahead, we'll also ask the clerk possibly to look into costings and then bring it back to a future meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So I propose for the
You have a
clerk
second
to
there?
find out.
all those in favour?
Yeah.
Right, so moving on to item number 4, 12.4, to receive letter from RMBC regarding Anston Bridal Way. Can I just ask, maybe you can clarify, is this the same footpath?
No, it's not a footpath, it's a bridle way.
Is this the one that goes from round the butterfly farm area across the Dinnington? Is that the same one we're talking about?
I couldn't say for sure, but it's definitely not a footpath. It's a bridle way.
Used to go up the side of the old tank and goes right across the fields to
Now,
Right, just bear with me on the final letter. Are we
I think
saying...
that's a footpath, John.
there's no one side of the tank, and it's further down. So you go through first wood, first, second, third, and Swinton's Wood. That path.
okay.
Right.
Was it top side of Whitegate, is it?
Yeah, well, we used to call it first, second, third, and fourth wood.
If you look at paragraph 5, it says to upgrade the footpath to a
Can we-
bridleway.
Can we talk this way rather than so? Right.
I've not read the
What's
talk.
actually saying, it's saying, I'm writing to you in regard to the possible creation of a bridleway. So the letter's implying that there isn't a bridleway there.
No, paragraph 5 says it's a footpath.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so what they're asking us then, do we wish to make any comments? Do we wish to make any comments in the upgrading of the footpath to a bridleway? Any comments, objections?
I think, because I was involved in, because I've been involved in the past, getting footpaths legalised, it says that they do have evidence for 20 years use. And if I understand it correctly, that means it can legally be made a legal footpath instead of just a place that people use.
Right, so as a council...
So I don't know if we have anything to do, Stuart.
Right. As individuals, you can comment directly to the planning department if you wish. Do councillors want to make a decision? Yes, we agree to it, or we object to it, or no comment? Do council want to make a decision as a whole?
Can I ask Stuart, are bridleways and footpaths responsibility of Rotherham Borough?
Yeah.
Yes.
So then if
Footpaths definitely are not.
so we've got to go through them then.
Yeah, well, they're the ones asking for the creation. They're just asking if we've any
Yeah, they
comments.
do, the legalities.
Right, so as a council, do we wish to make a comment?
I think that we should write back and say we agree with this.
Right,
Personally, I think we
everybody,
should.
we agree. So
Sorry?
you're making a proposal. Go on, say some,
Well, you're actually agreeing to turn it from a footpath to let horses use it and call it a bridleway.
Well, I don't know if part of it, a short section of Dinnington footpath number 11, does that mean that that has been formally adopted as a footpath?
Well, anything that says existing bridleway is what
Right.
horses.
what we need to get to
Footpath
is,
is not.
I can't bring you in, Kevin. Right, what we need to get to is, as a council, do we wish to make any comments at all regarding the proposed footpath changing to bridleway?
Well, I personally have no objection to it.
Right.
So that should be voted on. Rather object.
Right, can I have a proposal
Yeah.
then that the council...
Can I just remember, if you look at paragraph 3, it says if both landowners are happy for the creation of the route, then an agreement can be used to formalise it. This is a quicker process which cuts out the chance of objections. By formalising the route, it will become maintainable at public expense, i.e. that's RMBC, and work will be carried out to minimise the amount of misuse of the right-of-way, so it can be managed and maintained.
So what I'm trying to get to is, if we've no objection, well, we can just agree to receive this and no comments will be made, and the process will follow on in its natural course.
Right.
So can I have a proposer, if nobody objects, can I have a proposer to receive the letter? And a seconder? All those in favour?
Just to check, it says any comments will be welcome.
You can make individual comments if you wish.
So don't we want to make a comment as parish?
No, because we're not, this, I'm just saying, we're not objecting to it. Nobody raised a comment, but if you wish to raise a comment, contact them
I
themselves.
don't object to it.
Right, so that's not been done.
Well, it sounds like you've got the necessary 20 years usage, so
Yeah.
it'll just go through.
It is quite a rigorous process they have to go through with footpaths
It
and
is,
right-of-ways and motorway, motorways. Item 12.5, consider quote for Lockwood Park gate sign. We're going to put this into confidential later on. Right, so we'll move on to the next item. We'll vote on that at the end of the meeting. Item 12.6, to receive email from Yorkshire Local Councils Association regarding external audit regime. This doesn't apply to us. So can I have a proposal we just receive that?
Yeah,
Second, all those in favour? Right, item 12.7, receive email again from Yorkshire Local Councils Association regarding planning system for local communities. You were talking us a bit? I think this is where
I thought we discussed this last time, and it's still in the process, but the government's views were that they weren't going to give us, the parish council weren't going to get that opportunity.
basically what it is once parish councils, correct me if I'm wrong, Clive, once parish councils have made comments on planning applications, the decision is either made by officers or by the planning committee, in our case at Rotherham. And what they're looking at is the parish council has no right of, should we say, appeal, or is not able to take that further in the process. And I think is it now?
Yes, National
Right.
Association.
The National Association are organising a petition in order to try and get the law changed so that parish councils could have more say on planning applications, I think, at the appeal process, I think. It's an ongoing petition, all the information is there. Can I suggest that individual councillors, if they wish, reply to the survey, I think it is.
Well, I wouldn't say actually looking at the information we've got, it's perhaps been worded wrongly, because it is an email from Sheena Spence on the 23rd, which that, if you look on in your pipe, it says, asking the question, is the planning system working for local communities? It's just an invite to a meeting. I think we've dealt with the other one previously.
Right,
About
so
planning appeal, so
confusing this
it is this other bit that says APPG for local democracy and civic society. It's basically an invitation. If anybody wants to go down to Portfolio's house on the 7th of June, you're quite welcome to discuss it, but I think it's just a receive.
Can I suggest that we just receive that letter, and then if individual councillors wish to attend, they contact the relevant people. Have a proposal to receive that? Thank Matthew, seconded down, thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Item 12.13. No, 8. I'm going Roman numeral blind. Right, to consider request of the email from Anston Parish. We're requesting a reduction in the hall hire for an event they wish to put on, I think, on the 7th of October. Any comments from councillors?
Is it in aid of a charity?
Let's go with John first.
It's a regular thing that they put on, and everything that they make on the night goes to the charity, a charity. I don't know what they've selected this year, but it is a different charity. I think we've always done it before, but I can't remember for the life of me how much discount we gave them. It must be on record somewhere.
Right. Go on, Christine.
I was, no, it was the same thing. So.
Yeah.
Somebody else have an no. Right, I'll tell what my thoughts are on this, and probably quite controversial, is what I would suggest they should be doing is if they're holding concerts in aid of charity, it says all the proceeds donate to charity, what they should be doing, in my opinion, is they should organise the event. The money they raise then deduct all the finances or what they have to pay out, and then donate what's left to the charity. That's the way charities normally work. We're asking, does it say what reduction you want?
No,
Send it to last time.
last time.
I'm of the mind, when's the concert? 7th of October. Right, I'm of the mind this should be put towards the
Should it go to grants?
grants committee. I was going to suggest that.
Yeah. I mean, in effect, the charity, their chosen charity, will receive the money. Either if we give them a reduction, that will be more money for the charity.
So I'm of the mind as well, is if we're, for want of a better word, doing favours for other people in order for them to raise money for charity, I think our name should be out there, the council name should be out there in the ether or somewhere else, just to say we've helped to contribute. Because what's happened in the past is there's lots of money raised in the village and the council supports that but gets no recognition. Can I,
Stuart, they should do what they do up at the Methodist Church for their Christmas concert. They always show the Parish Council logo on the programme and say this is sponsored by Anston Parish Council. It always says that on it.
That's a good suggestion. Right, are you proposing that this goes to the grants committee? Right, there's plenty of time because we need to have a meeting at the grants committee fairly soon because there's
We need
two things
a
absolutely-
meeting of all committees.
Yeah.
I'm seconding that.
Right, so that's a proposal that this letter or this request be put to the grants committee, seconded by Dan. All those in favour? Carried. Item 12.9, to consider membership to the National Society of Allotment and Leisure Gardens for assistance with the allotment tenancy agreement.
We've lost our experts, haven't we?
Right, it's a suggestion, I don't know where it's come from, that we become a member of the society, and I believe that it's in order to take advantage of their tenancy agreement. Now, my own view on this is there's got to be enough tenancy agreements out there that we should be able to give for free.
I think it's worth mentioning, Chair, that Michael's put, I think the membership of the ALG would be useful. Is that so it's put?
It doesn't say in what way.
Can we just say it's useful?
When I was on the allotment committee, few years since, I drafted a new tenancy agreement for the allotments, which was based on a national one that we had. I think it's not just being a member of this organisation with regard to allotment tenancies. You do get other information as well. And I went to a meeting once at Woodsetts, I think where somebody actually turned up to speak to Parish Council about providing allotments. So it's guidance on how you manage allotments, etc., not just a tenancy agreement to start you hiring it out. So it might be useful because I think you will get more information and you've got to be... It supplies you with more information and contacts and things like that.
I agree.
You can actually speak to other organisations that manage allotments, and it also applies to rents, because you can then see how you can manage rent increases and stuff like that. So I think it's more of a guidance thing rather than...
Can I suggest is there's no cost being given to us to how much it would cost. Sorry, go on,
£55.
£55 a year. You see, I'll tell you what I'm thinking on this one is, I think we should go back to Siobhan, the senior assistant, and ask for a little bit more detail. I'm wondering if we had a problem last year or the year before regarding some action that was taken over a plot of a deceased member.
Yeah.
And I think the tenancy agreement needs changing. So can I suggest that we go back to the senior administrator and seek a bit more clarification of maybe why it's a good idea. Because if it's just a case we need to change the tenancy agreement, surely we should be able to find out ourselves more information rather than pay out to be a society.
Don't they have a meet? I stumbled upon a meeting between the allotment holders and Siobhan one day, and I was invited to stay.
Right, reason that...
So surely they can, they were having it here. I've never heard
The reason I
of
didn't
it.
suggest it goes to the allotment thing, because obviously now Gordon, I think was chairman, is now not chairman no more. I've only attended, in fact I don't think I've attended any, because I was having problems, because meetings were happening the day before I was informed. How that occurred, I don't know.
Do you think maybe he didn't want you there still?
It might well have been. I was getting emails from Siobhan, and then the date was a couple of days before, so that's why I've never been to any.
Has
So-
Gordon dropped out of the allotments meeting as well?
I don't know, I'll have to speak to him later. So, what's I going to suggest then, Christine?
Attended the
Christine.
allotment meeting with the councillor.
Oh, I see.
Christine, we talk down the table with them. Right, what we suggest is that we go back to the senior system and ask for some more information. If it's just a case we have to change the tenancy agreement, we need to find out what the problem with the tenancy agreement is in order to rectify it.
Mm.
So can I have a proposal that we ask for more information from the senior administrator? Thanks, Christine. The seconder? Thanks, Philip. All those in favour?
Question of clarification, is it just change the tenancy agreement? What's the issue?
Yeah, he knows all of them. He needs to come back. She might get a brief from the staffing meeting, I'm not sure. Or strictly not a staffing meeting issue. It was just the staff. Right. So right, we'll leave that for a future date. Item 12.10, to receive email from the person named there. This is going into confidential session, so we'll vote on that at the time.
I haven't got a copy of it.
Right, well, we'll make sure the copy is circulated after when we go into confidential session.
I didn't think that was...
That's the fence, isn't it?
No, 11. 12.10 is, I presume it's Rotherham Holiday Aid, it's from Harry Barrow.
Oh, right, I do apologise, I put the wrong one.
12%.
That's in the next one.
No.
I thought it was...
It is a Rotherham Holiday Aid.
That's just to acknowledge receipt of a donation that we gave £50 to Rotherham Holiday Aid. Can we just receive that? It's just an acknowledgement. Have a proposal and receive it. Thanks, Darren. Second, Clive. All those in favour? Carried. Item 12.11. Item 11, to receive letter from Centenary Fields. You've all got the letter. It's basically, Centenary Fields was something I think that started in, was it 2014? And it was just inviting people to put forward fields, I think of the word, through the National Playing Association, to put fields into
Commemorate.
commemorate the First World War.
We've all had a go at it now.
That's why I try not to pronounce big words.
I should have left them where it was to.
Basically, I think they're asking for suggestions and promoting the centenary fields, which way you can put fields into some form of protection for forever. Posterity. I'll stop there in case I swore. Put them in forever, so that allows them to be protected. Everybody's got a copy. Can I just propose that we receive that?
Yeah.
Can I just ask what explain to me the Memorial Garden in South Anston? What is that?
Right, the Memorial Garden in South Anston is owned by the Methodist Church. It was that particular used to be a building on that site in I think the 1920s, and it was gifted. I think the building was demolished, and the land was gifted by the Turners, I think,
Correct, yeah.
to the Methodist Church.
Yeah.
And turned it into a Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture actually of the big celebration now there. It was absolutely packed out with people in the 1920s.
My mother was glad.
So it's nothing to do with those, basically.
Nothing to do with us. I think we've cleaned up and things in the past.
If I just give you more information, it's the Borough Council maintain parking. I think we do bits and pieces, but we more or less gave it over to them to maintain it. And the Methodist Chapel manage it. It's not. It used to be when I was younger in the village. It was open.
Absolutely.
And you could actually go in and ticket it. Now, obviously, due to vandalism,
Vandalism.
it's more or less permanent locked. It's open a couple of days a year where they have various events in there, but they've just had their stonework redone inside.
If anybody wants to,
Myself and the Borough Council has contributed some money.
if anybody wants to go and have a look at it,
Jackie's
they
got.
ring Jackie Scott up. She's the key holder.
Yeah.
It's where I've got some information if you want to have to get out for it.
It's a booklet, the House of Parliament in there.
Yeah, there's a booklet.
The spire,
There's
that's from the house.
well, there's also a commemoration board inside that we worked on.
I thought it was ours.
No, it's...
Right, okay, can we move on to
I'll get that info.
move on to the next item, which is item 12. 12. This is the item that we're going to put into confidential session later. Item 12, 13, to receive a letter from the planning manager, RNBC.
It's Blackstone site.
Right,
Which we granted conditional.
Yeah.
I know that I didn't hear that. RNBC have granted conditional
Outline planning.
online planning for the land at Claxton, Claxton's bus depot there.
Yeah.
Can I have a proposal that we receive that and a seconder? All those in favour? Carried.
It'd look a damn sight better than mess it is now, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You're going to build anyway.
Right, we're on to item 12, 14. To consider contract from Regeneration and Environmental Services.
This is on the last one. It's for them doing planning landscaping work and things like that. Is it the same one?
I remember that.
I've got one about the town centre consultation. Talking about the planning document.
Right. Bear with me, please. Third of the fifth. Right. So this one was to
Last page. Halfway down. Community-led partnership.
Just bear with me, got a document that's not in the pack. Just bear with me 1 second, I'll have a quick read. Who normally signs contracts for maintenance? Is that the chairman?
Oh, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
What we're discussing is a contract
No,
for
last
grounds
one was 3
maintenance.
years.
What we need to understand is, sorry, let's carry on, talk that, sorry.
Yeah, go on, have a talk between yourself, but I'm just trying to sort out if we need to sign this or not.
I think as it's not in the
To establish
Right.
is in the planning
I think
application, have they
I've
set
actually
aside
used to speak to Michael who actually signs this one.
Do you know if that's the case?
I think they retracted it from what I heard, but it could have been changed again.
I don't know about that.
You see, you sign it.
Come on, Michael will say you're formal.
That's what I meant.
But it's the contract for the next.
Has it not been changed,
I
Colin?
think it needs to be.
But not last
It needs to be on the agenda.
Don't forget the people that are now, the people that build it.
If the client
There's
is
only
signed,
email from Michael.
if he has to come back.
They're just getting blamed for it. The email that came from Michael.
Right, what we're going to do with that item,
All the applications.
sorry to interrupt you, what we're doing item, the last item on there is to consider the contract. We've had the contract and it needs signing, and we're not sure whether the council has to approve it or whether the clerk or the chairman can do it with the delegated powers. We're going to go back and contact RNBC, we're going to contact Michael to see how it goes. So that we're going to come back. Moving on to item, after item 12, the following items are available for members on request. The local council's update of the Chesterfield Canal Trust, the Cuckoo magazine. Council wish to look at an amendment to contact the clerk. Item 13, to resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the business to be transacted. We'll do that in a minute. Item 14, to discuss any items, there's something missing off of it. Just one second, to discuss any items the press have been excluded. Right, we missed an item here. Right, we normally now adjourn the meeting and go into...
Don't you do 15, Stuart? Can't you do that now?
Well, right, what we're going to do is we have 10 minutes for the public to make comments. So, meeting adjourned for the public to make any comments. Brief comments, please. No comments from the public? All right, thank you. On to item 14, item 15, to agree date and time of the next meeting, which will be the 20th of June at 7 o'clock. And we now go on to item 13, and this is to resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the businesses to be transacted. The reason we're going to vote to go into confidential session is for contractual matters and possible legal matters. Can I have a proposal that we move into confidential session? Proposal Christine, second Colin. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're now going into confidential session.
Would anyone, any council like to come with me to witness what I've seen down in the West Side?
Rob, come here, have a chat with it.
Yes, I would.
What?
See it.
Anna's going to contact you to find out what I'm So if you give the details to the clerk, that way then the clerk can start to take some action on it. Yeah, we just discuss it. Yeah, so if you give... Oh yeah, yeah. If we get it here on paper, we need to have it on paper.
Did you say you were on, is he on the site? I think the fence is on his bound, on his fence. Well, it's actually on the board.
Yeah, there's all it should be on fire. This all buildings and everything.
It's not just on his boundary then.
No, it's not.
He's encroached onto.
I don't know whether we have them valued for insurance purposes.